Hello, everybody. Welcome to week 3 of Valhalla. This is a 2 o'clock game where you got nightly Koalas, Odin Division versus Olympians, Odin Division. Two teams who have yet to find a win in this season, so it's going to be a good matchup here. We get to see who finally is able to pull out their first dub of the season. Any Anybody on these teams, Cockamus, that you're interested in seeing play, or any matchups you think could be a good one to watch?
I mean, Armorwolf is one of the top ADCs, if not the top ADC in Odin in my mind. So definitely be interesting to see if his lane opponent today, who I'll be honest with you, I'm not entirely sure. Is it Margie?
ItsSogno.
It's Sagno. Okay. I think it'll be interesting to see that because I think Sagno is new to the league this season, but I believe he's played in not an unknown quantity to people he has played in other leagues before. Um,
I
and
I think this set in particular is kind of one of those sets where, in my opinion, I think that Olympians has more individual talent on this team. I think they have 5 pretty strong players in their roles. The problem with Olympians is that their comms aren't fantastic. They're pretty quiet players. Nobody really speaks up on this team, so that the synergy, the comms just aren't really there. They have the talent, like Armorwolf, like you said, is a great ADC. Wally is a good solo laner. OreoNebulaz, if he's playing mid, I mean he's actually, done pretty well. It's just the lack of comms for this team, I think, really hurts them. Whereas on the other side, I think that Nightly Koalas, the talent might not necessarily be there, but this team has a lot of synergy. But you'd expect a team like that to do well early on, and they just really haven't. And the other thing about this team is the fact that they've been having to use subs both weeks as they've played so far, so we haven't really seen the full 5 come out from this team. But at what point do you say, you know, regardless of playing subs, you have to get those wins, and they haven't done it yet. We're only 3 weeks in, so I think this week, in my mind, I think Koalas needs to win this game to show, that they can beat teams. And if you're Olympians, I think this is a good test to really work on those comms and synergy that you've been lacking. Um, because I mean, Koalas probably has some of the best synergy in Odin Division. I mean, they're all like best friends. They play together a bunch all the time. So this is definitely a good test to, really work on those comms.
Yeah, I mean, and both these teams actually, I believe, got 2-1 last week. So, I mean, I would say being able to pull a game, like for Koalas, being able to pull a game with not using your starting squad, your full starting squad anyway, I think bodes well. But you could also say the same thing about Olympians, unless Kexen is playing support, which I don't know if he is or not. But I noticed that they had Kexen in support last week, so
I think that both teams are pretty close to getting their win. I mean, obviously one team has to win today. I think both teams could have a chance of being pretty strong later down the stretch. I think once Nightly Koalas kind of figures out how they want to play, and then that synergy and cause that they've built will really come into play. And then you have Olympians who don't really have that synergy, but you don't really expect a team in a draft league to have great synergy. So once they start to figure that out, this team could be pretty good. And like I said, we're only in week 3, so this team has plenty of time to figure this, what they want to do out. They still have what 3 weeks or sorry 6 weeks before playoffs, and then even if they don't make it, to that top six, they go to the gauntlet. Then they can play on the gauntlet. So plenty of opportunities for both of these teams, regardless of the record, to show up later down the season. I'm really looking at if Margiela plays for Koalas, because I know they didn't play last week for them. But if Margiela does play for Koalas, I'm really looking at him because I think that he is a solid player for this team, a good jungler. I feel like he's a catalyst for this team. I also think that Define in the mid lane as well really when Define goes, Koalas goes. And I think that if he's able to get his comfort picks and really put pressure on the mid lane, I think Koalas have a good chance of winning this. Whereas if you're on the side of Olympians, I feel like you play around Armorwolf in the duo lane, you let him get a lead. He's a very strong laner. I mean, his team fights definitely he could work on, but I think if you really put pressure on that duo side, look for Gold Furies, get Armorwolf a lead, there's purple buff invades, red buff invades. Not only are you putting Define behind, which is, Koala's player to watch, but you're also putting your carry ahead. And I think that's really what Olympians should be trying to do if they want to come out with a win. In this set, I think that Wally versus Shrinoko is a fairly even matchup. Wally hasn't had the best of seasons, but now's really the time for him to step up. Um, I think Owen is playing today for Olympians in jungle, so it's going to be Owen versus whoever Koala's jungler is playing today. I have no idea.
Yeah.
So that could, I mean, Owen, is a solo main, so he might struggle a little bit in the jungle depending on who is going to be playing for Koalas. So,
I mean, he has played jungle in comp before, so it's not like he's completely brand new to the role or anything. And also, I think Dest was the jungler last week for.
That's right. Dest is a good player. I think if Dest and Margiela play, I think that would be a really good jungle matchup because despite Olympians not winning a game, I think obviously Armorwolf has looked pretty good, but I think Dest has stood out as a decent jungler, at least based off of stats from what I saw in the screenshots and when we played against him the first week, I mean they had to use 2 Thor players and this guy still dropped like 11, 12 kills on Nemesis. Like he's definitely a worthy contender in the jungle. So.
Mm-hmm.
So we are waiting to get into picks and bans.
So going off of what you said, Snooze, who do you think wins this set?
I think Koalas wins this set. I think that Koalas needs to win this set. This is a team that's pretty high and mighty on themselves. Obviously, they've had to play subs and all of that, but Olympians is just kind of a team that hasn't really put it together quite yet. I think they have the talent to do so, but the lack of comms and synergy for this team and just overall, which they just haven't looked very good. I think that's really keeping them from being a winning team. Whereas Koalas, I feel like that they're like right on the cusp of like really like turning it around. Obviously, playing with subs is whatever, but outside of that, like this team should be winning. You expect teams with good synergy, good comms, whatever. You expect those teams to win early in draft leagues. That's usually how it works because it's draft league. People, haven't played together before and all this stuff, so you don't really expect them to do too hot off the beginning. But this team's played with each other all the time, so I think that Koalas needs to win this set. I think they will win this set. Because if they don't win this set, maybe they consider making some kind of moves because something clearly isn't clicking for this team when it should be. So, but regardless, I still think that Olympians has a lot more in the way of them winning than Koalas does, and I'm hoping that or obviously both teams want to win, but I think Koalas is really hungry to get a win. They were pretty close last week, despite not having Margiela. So who do you have, Kakamas?
I probably would go with Koalas as well, to be honest. I think, like you said, having synergy obviously is really important. Although I guess you could make the kind of argument that not having your 5 players, you don't have that synergy. But
It definitely hurts, but who do they have play last week?
let's see, Koalas. That is a really bad screenshot.
So they played against Trash Pandas.
Yeah, they had Davey, Shernoko, ItsSogno, Brownsiide, and Define.
Okay, so they have Brownsiide playing jungle for them.
Oh yeah, they did, huh?
Yeah. When um Brownsiide plays jungle for them when Margiela is not available. I mean, obviously, I don't. Brownside's not a jungler, right? So
Yeah,
I
he's
think that
a support and
definitely,
solo laner.
I think that's definitely hurtful to this team, not having him in the or not having Margiela in the jungle and having to play Brownsiide. But it looked like he did fairly good last week. Uh, he played Bologna jungle at one point. That's kind of funny. Uh, but I think that Brownsiide is a solid player. So it's good to have somebody like that coming off the bench for you. I think that hopefully Nightly Qualis can obviously field 5, but you just never know with this team. So far they've been unable to do it. So again, well, it sounds like Olympians are going to be running their full 5 roster, so that's good. I think I don't know who is going to be playing for Koalas this week, but if Olympians has their full 5, that obviously gives them the best chance of winning. I think that this is going to be a sneakily good set. I just have a good feeling about it. I think Armorwolf versus Sogno should be a pretty exciting matchup. Wally versus Shrenoko, both side lanes. I think two great matchups. So I'm really excited to see how hungry both teams are to get a win here. I mean, obviously we both chose Koalas to win this set. Um, but Olympians have, they have the skill to win. They just got to put it together. And if there's any week to do it, now's the time. Just get ready down the stretch. This will be the third week, so we're already a third of the way through the season. So yeah, we are gonna head into picks and bans for game 1 of Nightly Qualas Odin Division versus Olympians Odin Division. Do you think anything spicy is going to come out, Cockamus, in terms of picks and bans? Anything crazy?
Uh, Not particularly. I wouldn't be like I think Odin has been seeing a little bit of a rise to prominence lately. Not necessarily in scrims, but it definitely has been getting picked up in the pro league. So I'm a little curious to see if we see an Odin pick or ban in the solo lane. I mean, he also could be played in support, so if needed, although I think he's probably better in the solo lane than support. I think that's the only thing I could think of that maybe would be spicy.
So interesting to know for our viewers too. This is the first week on the new patch as well. So I mean we've seen plenty of scrim streams, SPL stuff like that, but now we get to see what Valhalla players bring to the table in terms of what they want to do with this new patch. I was gonna mention Loki as kind of my god to look out for, and Olympians I guess thought the same way because they're gonna ban that away in that number 2 slot, taking Soul along with him. On the other side for Koalas, they're going to focus out the Guardians with the Athena Sobek ban. So we still got a Gilgamesh. Persephone is auto banned currently. So we still have a Gilgamesh. Tsukiyomi is going to be banned away by Olympians. Tiamat is also available. Gilgamesh. So Olympians looking to either get one of those two. Most likely, I like what they've done there. Tiamat is going to be banned away by Koalas, and I imagine Olympians is going to go ahead and take that Gilgamesh, and they will do so in that first pick slot. I like Gilgamesh. I'm honestly not a big fan of Gilgamesh in the solo lane. I like him a lot more in the jungle than I do in the solo lane. He just feels really weird to me in the solo lane. It could just be me just not really liking him, but I see he makes a lot more impact in the jungle than he does for me in the solo lane. So, but regardless, he still is a flex pick. We have seen him played a little bit in support too. I think that's probably the worst of the 3 roles for this god, but it's still a possibility. So a very well used flex pick coming out from Olympians, and a Merlin going to be hovered for Koalas. Interesting to go for a Merlin this early. Define looking to take a comfort pick in the Merlin. He really likes the Merlin and Zathoths. I think he plays a lot of Raw as well. Merlin gonna be locked in, and Horus gonna be hovered along with it. What are your thoughts on Horus, Cockney?
It's an interesting pick. I mean, he does have he's an aggressive support. I wouldn't put him in the solo lane just because his level 1. Well, I guess his level 1 clear stinks, but his level 2 clear is pretty good. But if he is as the support, having that aggressive, he can dash in and then knock you up and shred your protection. He's scary. I don't like playing against him. When he's prominent, I typically have less fun in duo lanes. So
yeah, I'm gonna be honest here. Nightly Koalas, top 2 Merlin Horus, so they definitely have their own game plan, right? But you're gonna leave open Chiron. I mean, Chiron maybe took a little bit of hit in the patch, but I still think he's a great carry. I still think he's a great carry. And not only that, you gave Armorwolf Chiron, which is one of his better picks in the 3rd slot. Plus, you've got a Gilgamesh. Giannis going to be locked in as well for Olympians. I like their top 3 a lot. I like the Giannis, Gilgamesh, Chiron for Olympians. Now, on the other side, I mean, I understand the Susanoo pick. Obviously, you want it for the Giannis. I just feel like a Fenrir would have been a better pick than the Susanoo. It's, I mean, obviously one of the more famous picks against the Chiron.
Mm-hmm.
You don't necessarily chase down the Giannis through his portal, but you can still stun him. If he doesn't have beads, he's basically screwed. Gilgamesh can't get away from Fenrir either. I don't know. I think a Fenrir would have been a much stronger pick than Susanoo, who is a very risky pick to go. If you fall behind on this god, he's almost irrelevant. So I think it's very risky. Gonna go the Apollo here as well for Sogno over there in the duo lane. Talking about bans here real quick. Olympian's gonna take away an Artemis. Really see Artemis too banned too often, but do you think Artemis has come back? Because I don't know.
No. I mean, I do think not having the boots helps. But she still has the same issues that she always has, that she doesn't really have an escape other than, it's not really an escape, the stim where she cleanses, slows, and goes fast. and the only CC immunity she has in her kit is her ultimate, which is really is better used for team fights than, you know, getting it burned because you don't have beads.
On the other side for Koalas, they're going to take away the Kabrakan and Pele. I think Kabrakan has really rose to prominence in the support role. I think a lot of people kind of like that god. I think we might start to see him more often. But Wukong and Camazot's going to be locked in. So it seems like Gilgamesh is going to go to that support role for Olympians, going to go the 4 physical route. Camazot's going to be locked in. And Wukong, I can't imagine going anywhere else other than the solo lane. I've seen some spicy things for the Wukong jungle, but it is WallyNxtDoor Wukong for a reason, right? So he's definitely going to go this solo lane for WallyNxtDoor, and
there's spicy.
Mulan.
That's spicy. Is that spicy enough for you?
It's spicy. It's spicy. I respect it. You know, Mulan has received a lot of buffs and still is not good.
I was going to say I don't think she's that great, but you have a 4 fizz comp on the side of Koalas here. Not that makes or breaks their team comp or anything, but obviously it makes it a little easier for the tanks to prioritize the damage or prioritize their items.
I think Mulan has gotten a ton of buffs, right? And just really hasn't found that right buff to really push her into the meta. But I think eventually we will get to that point where something clicks. Meta shifts, a buff, makes her, good. Whatever reason, I think we could see Mulan more often than we are right now. There is one thing that this god does, and that's give you pressure. I mean, like she's got great pressure in lane. She hits very hard, good sustain with the 2. I mean, that 2 hits like a truck when it's leveled up into that 2 charge range. So I think that Mulan can give you pressure. The problem is her late game. I mean, I just don't think her team fight's potential is very good. She's pretty easy to kill. Once she gets in, it's hard for her to get out.
Yeah, she's got to use the ult, and if she hits somebody, then she's kind of like, well, crap, I'm stuck.
Well, you can cancel it now. So.
Oh. I thought you can only cancel it if you missed.
No, you can now cancel the ultimate, which did help her a lot. A lot of people that play Mulan kind of just go for the ultimate and then the knock up and then cancel it because the other 2 just aren't the greatest. But overall, so both teams going to run the 4 physical. I think Nightly Koalas in terms of prot shred have a lot more, obviously, with the Horus.
Mm-hmm.
So they've got the prot shred. Olympians don't really have that. Also, Olympians are relying on a Giannis as their only magical damage, which is a little bit more risky than going for some other mage like Merlin. I think Merlin can, pump out a ton of damage, whereas Giannis more on the inconsistent-ish side with the Giannis too. Who do you got winning this game, Cocky? Based off the comps, who we think?
Honestly, I feel like I've got to give it slightly to Olympians here, because kind of like you were saying with the relying on Giannis for mage damage is a little sus, but I'll also, I mean, you don't have a mage in this game that I look at and say, hey, we have objective secure. But on the Olympian side, I mean, you do have Chiron ult at least, so like obviously not the greatest secure in the world, but you can steal objectives or secure objectives with that ult a lot easier than say an Apollo ult or something like that. So I would give it slightly to Olympians just because they can actually secure objectives, whereas I feel like Koalas has to rely on having the pressure advantage around these objectives in order to secure them, since they don't really have great secure.
So I think based off of the comps, I'm also going to go with Olympians. I think it's very hard to give a team to very powerful gods like Chiron and Gilgamesh. And speaking of the Gilgamesh only getting first blooded there, I think that Armorwolf has looked great on the Chiron this season. I mean, first week obviously looked really good in the lane. So I think that Olympians, if they can really put the pressure on the duo side of the map, go for those purple buff red invades, like I said, get Armorwolf a lead in the duo lane, I think that they could set up really well. I just don't really like the Koalas team fight. I think their team fight is pretty lackluster to me. Overall, like not the best team fight ultimates. If SogNo does fall behind, it's going to be very difficult for him to, keep up in these fights. You keep minimizing your application.
Yeah, because he's trying to fix the stream.
Just display capture. Well, I mean, it's better than not capturing anything. Just like mute your Discord. You should be fine.
Yeah.
Like mute your Discord notification so they don't keep popping up.
Yeah. That's one thing I know that bugs me is when you're watching a stream and you hear the Discord notification, you look at your Discord and you're like, it's not mine.
Yeah. But talking about rosters here real quick, so everybody's the same outside of we talked about Brownsiide. He's going to be subbing for Shinoko in solo lane, which I think is a lot better than him having a sub in the jungle. Obviously, Shinoko is definitely a good player for this Koalas squad, but I think having the Margiela, actually having a jungle in jungle is what you kind of need. Brownsiide actually going to look for the solo kill here on the Wukong, who's going to force it into the ultimate, half HP on the Mulan. Does he choose to land on her? He's not going to opt for the wave clear. Margiela in the jungle on the right side of the map, potentially looking for an invade, but on the left side, we see Dest looking for a duo invade as well. Margiela looking for the kill on the Wally, and he does find it. That's first blood. Going to go the way of Nightly Koalas. On the other side of the map, we see Dest and Kexing getting active on a Davey, who dashes away with the Horus. Yon Assault used as well. They're looking to kill this Horus here. No dashes available, and they're going to find it. Armorwolf picking up that kill. Yeah,
that was actually not first blood. First blood was Dest killing SogNo in the solo lane. So,
okay. Well, Margiela gonna look for a kill here onto OreoNebulaz onto the tower. Only level 5, 4 minutes in the game, so pretty risky to dive a tower at this point. But he does have the ultimate available and the teleport. He's gonna look for a kill here in the mid lane, and he looks like he's gonna find it here. And yes, he does. OreoNebulaz is gonna take a spill. And this is what you want to see with the SogNo pick. Get an early lead, get a couple kills. And obviously took that first blood spill, but still has that level advantage over Dest. And once he gets this Transcendence online, he's going to be hitting pretty hard. And that's really what you want to see coming out from a SogNo pick. But on the side of Olympians, I asked for it and I got it. They did put pressure on the duo lane, give Armorwolf a kill over there. He can kind of pressure out his lead. Dest's going to take another trip to the duo lane as well, looking for a purple buff invade, but the rest of Olympians don't seem too interested in it, so this could be a risky invade as Horus is hovering on the left side of the map, going to look for damage on SogNo, instead unable to connect. And I talked about this in the pregame, and I'm glad to see that Margiela and Dest are both playing, because I think this is really going to be a good jungle matchup for both these players. I think they're both solid junglers. I'm really excited to see how well they're able to do. Camazotz is a pick that we don't really see too often anymore, as OreoNebulaz is going to maybe get caught out here by Margiela, but he's going to wait around the corner instead. Interesting in terms of builds. Both solo laners going to opt for that Soul Eater, Wukong and Mulan, and in the duo lane, it looks like Armorwolf's going to rush the Ickfall, whereas ItsSogno opts for the Devourer's Gauntlet rush. What are your thoughts on the there's like a lot of debate over whether or not this Ickfall start is actually viable, like if it's gonna stay. What are your thoughts on the Ickfall rush?
I personally feel like it kind of stinks. It like you're early, you're really early, like you're first before you get Ickfall. just feels really bad because you don't have any power coming from the T1 bow. And like a lot of times you've seen, like in pros, we've seen after that they go the other Atlanta's. At least Atlanta's has a 40 power behind it, so
Armorwolf gonna pick up a kill on ItsSogno as Dest barely able to make it out with that bat out of hell. Scorpion does go the way of Nightly Koalas, but Olympians pick up a kill in return. Horror Assault is used, doesn't really find too much off of that. Red buff secured by Dest. For me, I've always really liked Igfall as an item. I really enjoy using the item. The interesting thing to me is the god that he chooses to build or not. I personally think that Chiron is still, you know, that bluestone transcendence kind of god that I want to build, get that power to really chunk, especially when you know that you're gonna be playing in this 4 Fizz. I really want that pen and power that I get from the bluestone trans. Whereas I don't really, it's more sustained damage coming out from the Igfall and like Atalantas and stuff, which is fine. But I just think Chiron is better suited for going that bluestone trans rather than this start.
yeah. I mean, the only thing I would say too, like just as a counter argument for this matchup, is that obviously when Apollo has his passive, he's going to have a lot of attack speed. So obviously if he is full Ichabod, then he's going to have, you know, 30 less power.
Solo using the ultimates, and Wukong looking for a kill on the Mulan and does find it, but he's going to most likely die here. But Assault is used. Didn't find his way to the portal, but they're going to look to turn the kill on to Margiela, who took way too much damage. And OreoNebulaz is going to pick up that kill. So 2 for 0. I'm going to consider that a solo kill because it basically was a solo kill. WallyNxtDoor going to take down Brownsiide on the Mulan. So far, really haven't seen this Mulan pick work out too well. I mean, he's tried to get pressure, but the Wukong ult has been very effective in keeping the Mulan at bay.
Yeah, I mean, that fight, he had almost a picture-perfect ult there. He got up into the cloud just in the nick of time so that he wouldn't get hit with the... I don't think he got hit with the last tick of the ult there from the Mulan, and with the Susanoo there, too. Obviously, if he didn't get up in the ult, then he probably would have died there.
The one thing I will say about this Igfall start, I feel like it really benefits a player like Armorwolf, who does focus his play a lot around the laning phase and getting pressure and stuff like that, and looking for solo kills, whatever. If he wants to do that, I think Igfall is obviously a great item, right? I mean, there's nothing better than to solo somebody with than Igfall. So,
right.
Margiela can actually look for another gank and potential blue invade coming out on the solo side of the map. So a lot of time spent on the solo side of the map by Margiela, whereas Dest is focused more on the duo side, which I like a lot. OreoNebulaz just uses portal in front of 2 people, but Kexen is here with a drop kick into the wall. Assault charged, Assault fired. Big damage coming onto Define, who's like 2 HP. Winds of Samash gonna pick up that kill. Davey's ulting, but standing right in the Gilgamesh ult, almost ends up dying there. Margiela in mid lane, but can't really do too much here. Has a slight level lead over Dest in the jungle, but looks like Gold Carry gonna be started here as Davey had just back. Margiela seems to be able to sniff this one out. He is rotating around the back. Susanoo ult, not the worst in terms of steal potential. Let's see what he chooses to do here. Kexen looking for the drop kick off the mark, and Olympians are able to get it, but they're going to fall to Margiela, who's trying to pick up a double kill, and does find it. Dest going to try to finish him off with the bat out of hell, and he does do so. Apollo in the air looking to fire onto Dest, who gets mezzed into the Apollo 1, and that's going to be a dead Camazotz. So 3 for 1, but Olympians get the Gold Fury. I gotta think that, yeah, I gotta think that favors. I think that favors Koalas. I mean, getting Sogno that kill catches him back up to Armorwolf. Obviously, Margiela getting a double kill there. I mean, he was very close to stealing that gold fury too. Very, very close. I mean, it was almost frame perfect with the Susanoo ult. So sitting at a 2-level lead now over Dest on the Camazotz with the Susanoo. I mean, this is exactly what you want from your Susanoo. You know, to get this lead. And I think right now the rest of Koalas really needs to step up. We haven't seen too much coming out from Davey on this chorus, a very aggressive pick, but he hasn't really found anything quite yet. It's mostly been Margiela making the plays out of the jungle. I feel like both Define and Davies have opted to just kind of farm this game out. Wally gonna try to take a trade here, but he has no mana. But the rotation is here from the rest of the Olympian squad. Wally still no mana. Margiela behind the team fight. Gonna get the blink pull and actually save Brownside's life with that. Gonna pick up a kill into Wally. And the rest of the team fight gonna collapse here. Catchson kind of by himself. But big damage onto Margiela and the Giannis 2 off the mark. Somebody's got to kill the Susanoo. The portal secures the kill. Davey is gonna get drop kicked into the wall, and Define very low on HP. Gonna almost get hit by that Giannis 2.
I'm a little surprised how...
And on the other side of the map, Armorwolf gonna solo SogNo at his purple buff. And honestly, that's what Iqbal does.
Yeah, I am amazed that Brownsiide got out of there with literally like 20 HP. I mean, that's insane.
Yeah, definitely. A little surprising to see him walk away there, but again, I just... Davey and can we look at the damage right now? Because I have a feeling Divine is very low. Yeah,
yeah, he's lower than the Gilgamesh support even.
Yeah, so I think that if Margiela playing very aggressive, looking to be proactive, looking to get ganks, get kills, but when your mid support aren't really interested in doing the same thing. Especially when there's a Giannis on the other team who can, obviously counter-rotate. It puts you in a really, really rough spot, and I think that's what Olympians are struggling with right now. That their mid-jungle their mid-support wants to farm, but their jungle wants to be, active around the map and try to get things going. We talked about this team has pretty good synergy and comms, but right now doesn't seem to be working too well. Margiela seems to be making a lot of individual-esque plays. Armorwolf very low on mana, but doesn't seem like Davey is too interested in making anything happen over there. And Merlin is not obviously a early game god. I mean, you don't expect this god to frag out in the early game, but we are getting to the point where he can make plays around this 14-15 minute mark. We might see a big fight around this next Oni Fury coming up. Pyromancer also available for both squads as well. This is now the point with finishing this soul gem where Define needs to make moves on this Merlin. He can't really opt to wait longer. Wally taking a ton of damage from Brownsiide, but Dest is here. No ultimate available for the Mulan. Sunder comes out from Wally. Tiger Stun is good as well. Mulan trying to heal with that Soul Eater, but the whole squad is on the right side of the map, and Pyromancer are going to be started as well. It looked like Margiela tried to go for a gank in the dual lane, but didn't really find anything. Koalas is here to find throwing the abilities over the wall, but the Pyromancer still secured. Wally is going to ult up into the air here, and everybody's going to walk away. Pyromancer and kill secured. Margiela off the mark with the Giannis ult. Well, Giannis ult off the mark. Margiela off the mark with the Susanoo ult and ends up falling there as well. And it just seems like Olympians seem more interested in rotating than Koalas does. I mean, they didn't even use Giannis ult to rotate to the right lane. They just walked over there. And Koalas just kind of sat in lane, Davies and Define. And again, when is this mid-support duo gonna step up here? Because right now they just really aren't doing anything. Oni Fury just now spawning, going to be started immediately by Olympians. Davey is here and he knows this is going on. Kexon just back and Wally is already in base, so this is not going to be an easy pull and they're going to drop it. What is the issue going on right now with Koalas, Kaki?
I feel like this, like, I know that you were saying, obviously, like, the Susanoo needs to get it, like, the Susanoo needs to get ahead and stay ahead and everything, but I feel like a lot of the plays that Margiela has been making have resulted in their death. So, like, it kind of reminds me a bit of the set that you and I casted last week with King of the Jungle on the Loki. when they were going on the Scylla concept on the Scylla, that kind of seemed like kind of just hinting for kills.
Exton picking up a kill onto Margiela, and Define taking a spill on the mid lane. Davey's nice. Nice horse 3 to avoid. 4-man Mez coming out from Sogno, but now he's going to get abused under his T2. Very low HP on Armorwolf, but he's going to find the kill regardless. Wally into the air. And meanwhile, Brownsiide happy to split push the solo lane, but mid T2 seems to be the target for Olympians. And I like the way that Olympians is playing their comp. They're really abusing the Giannis portals and the Gilgamesh pressure that they're getting, from this pick. I think that Wally's done a good job rotating as well, making an impact, whereas it just seems like Koalas seem a bit lost right now. It doesn't seem like they know where they want to go. Well, I wouldn't really say that. Margiela seems like he knows where he wants to go, but the rest of the team just doesn't seem too interested in following up. And right now, I just feel like that just happens to be their downfall. And I agree. I think Margiela has stepped up a little too far at some points in the game. Like that play in mid was a little egregious. I mean, he knew that everybody was at that Pyromancer, so going for that play was definitely risky. But for the most part, I mean, it just seems to me like Define and Davey's, and it's not necessarily Define. I'm honestly more looking at Davey's on this horse. This is aggressive playstyle with a god. Like, I'm not gonna, I don't want my horse to be sitting back and doing nothing, right? And just farming up the whole game. Like, I need him to be aggressive, and Margiela is giving him the opportunity to do so. He just hasn't really followed up off of it.
Yeah.
Fire Giant is up right now. Hex gonna jump over the wall, maybe look for a drop kick here. Davey's gonna dash away. Armorwolf now backing ItsSogno, looking to maybe make a rotation, but OreoNebulaz is level 19 right now, 18 minutes in the game. He is a big boy on this Giannis, but so is Armorwolf, also sitting at level 19. Three level lead for both carries on the side of Olympians, and this is where this Iqval build becomes very hard to deal with. When you have such a big lead like this with that build, I mean, there's nobody can fight you. Like, there's no chance that Margiela or Brownsiide has any chance of killing this Chiron. They have to dump everything onto this Chiron, including the Merlin damage, if they have hope of killing him, because this build that he's gone for is very potent.
Yeah, I would agree. The only thing is too is that you do have Sogno going into crit. So like obviously like if he gets lucky, right, then he might be able to fight into it a little bit better. Obviously, it would feel better if he wasn't Evolved, but although he is losing the battle, he is losing the trade right there, that's for sure.
Armorwolf happy to take the trade with Sogno, who tries to ult away, but he's immediately going to die here. Davies was trying to ult to duo lane, and now that gives opportunity for Olympians to collapse onto Brownsiide in the solo lane. Giannis and Winds of Samash used as well, but still alive. There comes the Giannis too for the big boy damage, and Brownside's gonna have falling here, but not before trading his life out for the Giannis, which is honestly huge. I mean, the Giannis was gigantic. Define barely trying to get away here, and the Wukong ult is on the mark. 3 for 2, one of those being a solo kill in the left side of the map.
And they're gonna get this T2 as well. And
the T2 as well, yep. Solo lane. Looks like still aggression coming onto Margiela, who's trying to dash out. Does find the dash away, is going to back here. Sunder onto Davies, who knocks him out of his way. T1 tower going to fall here in solo lane, and Armorwolf making his rotation to the right side of the map. And this is what we consistently see from Armorwolf. And it's not like I hate that call to go for the solo kill there, right? But now he really needs to get in these team fights. Like, there is no reason for him to ever go to duo lane again. Yeah. At this point, like, and he is gonna rotate over and get this Pyromancer. I honestly would have rather seen him just go to solo lane to begin with in that fight, rather than just opt for the duo push. I mean, I understand he gets that T2, but you really want to push this lead that you have right now. And despite them losing that kill or that team fight in solo lane, they're still getting items, they're still getting gold and XP, and now that lead is not as big as it once was. you know, everybody's going to hit level 20 at some point, so.
Well, except for maybe supports, depending on how the game goes.
But I mean, Margiela at that point when we were talking about how big his lead was, Margiela was level 15.
Right.
Now he's level 18. Brownsiide was level 17. Now he's level 19. Like,
yeah.
So, you know, Armorwolf's build and effectiveness was very strong at that point. Not as strong now. Still going to hit like an absolute truck. I mean, he is still very, very big. Yeah. Just not as big as he was. And I think, and he's going to go back to dual lane again.
Well, I mean, gotta get the purple buff, right? And get the Draugr. Gotta have the Draugr diff.
The Draugr diff.
Yep. I mean, you'd be surprised how impactful. Like, it's not like super duper impactful, but it actually can make a difference. I mean, at this point in the game, probably not so much, but yeah, like early and mid when you actually, because like the only towers they have really on the map for Olympians to siege here is really that T2 and right, and then the Phoenixes, obviously.
Now he's gonna opt to go over towards the fire giant. OreoNebulaz is gonna back and they get the gold fury, but honestly, I'm not really in love with how slow they're playing this. I kind of want to. You know, they have a 12k gold lead right now. I mean, now's the time to kind of run it down their throat. And
yeah, they're playing like they have a 2 or 3k gold lead at this point, and not this huge advantage that they have.
I mean,
they probably have about a 10k gold lead or XP lead as well, honestly.
Fire Giant now going to be started by Olympians. Everybody on the side of Koalas is here. Wally looking to zone, but he's on the other side of the wall from the rest of Koalas, so not the greatest zone. Brownsiide going to get collapsed on here. Wally going to dash through the team fight, and huge on assault drops SogNo down to half HP. Fight going to collapse onto the Apollo, gets knocked up by the Horus. There's the Gilgamesh shell. Horus very low on HP, nowhere to go. He's going to follow OreoNebulaz. Rest of the fight going to go on to the Apollo, who just Aegis. He's going to fall to the Armorwolf ultimate. Margiela, baby, barely able to get out, but she's going to die to the masterful shot. 3 for 0. Brownsiide now getting collapsed on. Still ultimate available for the Mulan. Going to find a kill onto Dest here with it. Kexen going to continue the fight. Nice portal by OreoNebulaz, who picks up that kill. 4 for 1 in the team fight. And I'm not really sure what Wally was doing at the whole time, but regardless, I think was he just hitting the tower? I don't know, but
I mean, they didn't need him to do anything else.
I guess not.
I mean, you get a 4 for 1.
Phoenix gonna fall here on the right side of the map, and let's see what Olympians opt to go for here. They're gonna back up. 3 people still dead on the side of Koalas, so they might have an advantage on pulling this fire giant, but they're gonna opt to back instead, spend the gold, and regroup for this fire giant, get some ward coverage. Their ward coverage isn't the greatest right now. They only have a couple wards up.
They do have a decent amount of wards at the jungle, though.
Yeah, but they're kind of all in the same spot.
True.
So that ward by Scorpion and the ward like slightly above it kind of give the exact same information. So
true.
Not the best ward, but regardless, I mean, we wanted Olympians to play aggressive with the giant lead that they had. They played aggressive. They got 4 kills out of it. I mean, and now I feel like you just do the same thing again. If I'm Koalas, I don't even know if you defend this fire giant. Like, I want to be honest. Like, I think you just give it up. You haven't won a single team fight. Look to farm instead. Split push the map. SogNo's going to do just that. He's going to look in dual lane. I mean, I guess you can look for a steal potential, which it seems like Margiela going to wrap around the back to do so. But Dest spots him out immediately. Margiela going to head to mid lane. And I like this call from Koalas. It's not EFG. Well, I don't like the call of Davey's deciding to die, but Yanasal going to be used, and now Defiant's going to fall here as well. It was a good call until they stepped up too far, and Defiant pays for it with his life. Yeah. Davey's going to use his Horus ult to try and get out here. He does just that, but I liked the call to give it up. It wasn't EFG, and you just look for farm there, but Defiant falling opens up this mid Phoenix super easily. Brownsiide looking for a kill onto Armorwolf. That is just not a trade you win. Mid Phoenix gonna fall.
Not with that barrel.
No way does Armorwolf stand a chance of winning that fight.
You mean Brownsiide.
Or Brownsiide, sorry, yeah. Armorwolf definitely was gonna win that fight. 100%. Mid Phoenix taken, solo side Phoenix already down. Olympians looking for the left side, which is pushed all the way up in minions, and Define should be up for this Phoenix, but they didn't really clear out right lane too well. And Brownsiide caught up on the mid lane, and he used the Mulan ult, but he is toast. Wally gonna pick up that kill.
Production, can we look at Armorwolf real quick? I'm pretty sure he's overcapped on attack speed. That's possible.
Push
Go to player. Go to player. That's Dest.
Nice Giannis ult on the down to a quarter HP. All 3 Phoenixes taken down, and now if you're Olympians, you just wait for minions to flood in, but they're actually going to get out of there and opt to back up.
Although Wally is still fighting.
Wally didn't.
He does have Fire Giant though, so he does have the sustain. He wants to pump up those damage numbies.
Pump up the damage numbies. Can we look at the player damage here real quick? Because I am very curious to see.
Player damage because of that fight.
Look at that. That was big brain. He obviously just wanted the top PD. And you know what's crazy? Define started this game at the bottom 2, and now he's at third. So he's definitely doing damage. But I'm looking at
the rest of his team's not though. That's the problem.
ItsSogno and Margiela both really struggling to get those damage numbers up. And honestly, like this is kind of what you expect from the Susanoo pick. Like it's just as soon as it falls behind, he was making plays early. He was getting early kills and early leads, but his team wasn't ahead. Right. So eventually it just kind of collapsed on him. And now this pick can't do anything. Now he can't even do damage. He gets immediately blown up the instant he goes in. He has no defense. Gonna go for the bubble here in the last item slot. But that's the problem with this pick. I mean, at this point, you're not even worried about the Giannis because there's no shot you get to him. Like, you're just gonna die immediately. This Susanoo pick really has fallen through, and I just don't think ItsSogno has had the greatest performance on this Apollo. I think he's really struggled to find anything in this game. He's gonna look to split push the left lane here, gonna back instead. Again, not the greatest wave management by Koalas, so they've got like maybe a minute and 30 to defend this, but they're gonna back up instead. All 3 Phoenixes taken down once again, and all 3 minion waves basically pouring into the Titan at this point. But once again, Olympians decide to back up. And why?
Yeah, I'm not sure I like that play either. I think if they're gonna do anything, try to do maybe like a split. Although you do have Kexen coming in.
Using the dash, Kexen immediately goes on top of him, and Margiela, big damage on the OreoNebulaz, has to use the beads and Aegis. Dest able to pick up a kill, but Margiela finds Armorwolf, and that's a huge kill for this team fight. OreoNebulaz very low on HP. Brownsiide also low on HP as well. Margiela gonna find OreoNebulaz with a double kill while he picks up the kill on the Davies. Into the cloud he goes, and that was very questionable from Olympians.
I mean, at least the good thing for them is that yes, they do have all 3 Phoenixes down, although this mid one is going to be respawning here shortly. But they also should be up in time for this Fire Giant, so that if they do get this mid Phoenix here and back off, then they
mid Phoenix gonna fall once again. Mid Phoenix falling once again, but I mean, Koalas taking these fights, only getting these slight trades. I mean, they're almost all full build at this point. Define just needs to finish out that last item, which looks like it's going to be a Rod to Hootie, and Dest just killed himself. Okay.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
That's not what you want.
Yeah, that totally just counters what I said, that they should be able to take this Fire Giant fairly easily. Obviously, Koala still has to defend against these fire waves that are pouring into their Titan room, but they do have a little bit of a
chance
opening here to do something, but it looks like they're just gonna continue to push waves and give up this EFG.
I think Davey really wants to get this compassion online. I think that's what he's gonna go for. So he's gonna take care of the left wave here. He should be able to have that for this next fight. But once again, Brownsiide steps up a little too far, and he's gonna die. I mean, you just can't do that. It's as simple as that. I mean,
yeah, There's no real excuse for that. What do you think? I just happen to notice that Gilgamesh went animosity.
I like it. I mean, he's been on top of Define pretty much this whole game. Nice horse up on the Wally, forces him to try and get out there, but he's gonna dash into the team fight instead and barely get up into the cloud. Chiron ult coming out as well, but a lot of low health bars on Olympians, especially the 2 tanks. So they're gonna have to walk away, and once again, another successful defense coming out from Koalas.
I mean, they still have the minions pouring in from the right side.
Yeah. Sogno's gonna take care of the minions here. They do have a good clear with the Merlin for the minions, but they do. Olympians have the EFG, so it's going to be a little difficult for them. Giannis ult deletes Define, and that's a huge kill.
You have Apollo up in the air as well.
Sogno is in the air. Dest finds a kill. OreoNebulaz with the double kill, and that's going to be the game. OreoNebulaz with a triple kill. Can he look for the quadra? And Armorwolf's
going to steal it, of course.
What a surprise.
What a surprise, yep. We're on the same page there, so Olympians win game number 1 here.
Olympians take down Nightly Koalas 32-12.
And you actually noticed, I noticed that Define got top PD for the entire game there at the end there.
We talked about it in Picks and Bans that giving up the Chiron Gilgamesh is not what you want to see. And I'm going to be honest, I think that was a downfall. I mean, I think OreoNebulaz played great on the Honest. I mean, his ults were almost on the money every single time on Sogno or Define. Like, I think he had some really, really good Giannis ults. But, I mean, you just can't look at what Armorwolf did that game and let them have Chiron again this next game. There's no show. Like, I mean, Sogno was basically... Like, Sogno could have sat in base and done the same thing. Like, it was impossible for him to do anything in the laning phase, like, at all. I mean, he finished that game with 1 rage stack.
Yeah, well, I mean, he also went 1-6. Like, I mean, there's duo lane went 1-11 and 3, which, like, is not good. I mean, being involved in at a maximum 25% of your kills as a duo lane is not what you want to see, whereas you were, 13, 3, and 31 from the dual lane of Olympians?
Yeah.
So, like, they were involved in a lot more.
I think you look at this game and you just can't let Armorwolf have this Chiron again.
Agreed.
Ducky, just open Task Manager, bro. Push the Windows button. And have to restart your PC.
Okay. Well, we'll be back here in a minute. We're having some issues with production, so we'll be back in just a minute to start game number 2 here of Nightly Koalas versus Olympians Odin.
Yup.